Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center dietitian Kris Ratley will join us to share some tips for healthier eating during the holidays. Kris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. I want to start by learning a little bit more about you. Tell me what you do at the hospital. What is your role?
My role at the hospital is the clinical nutrition manager. So my staff and I, we go to the patients and try to identify patients that might be at nutrition risk or patients that are already malnourished, and work with the rest of the team on trying to figure out how to help those patients, assist them maybe with food sources that they can get at home or throughout the community. And then we also do nutrition counseling, so we might educate the patient on their diet, or we might educate them on vitamin or minerals that they're taking at home. And so we're just trying to, or we work with the patients to, if they're not able to eat enough by mouth, then we work with the rest of the team to assist them in making sure they're getting adequate nutrition by other means.
Sure. That sounds like a big job.
It can be at times, but it's fun.
Tell me a little bit about your education and how you became a dietitian.
Well, my first degree is in exercise science, and so I was working a lot in corporate health and would have to contract a dietitian to do a lot of the nutrition programs. So after a couple of years of doing that, I became interested in nutrition. And I guess I wasn't interested at first because of all the chemistry that it required, and that wasn't a strong point of mine. But then I pursued the degree in nutrition, and so now I have worked in acute care or in the hospital setting. I work in corporate health, I worked in oncology, I worked in cardiac and pulmonary rehab. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can work in if you're a registered dietitian.
Wow, that's interesting. I just didn't realize all that. Well, we're about at the holiday time, which I always hate. I love holidays, but I eat too much. So I know lots of folks out there are thinking about having to deal with all the buffet lines and all the parties and what have you. Do you have any key recommendations for staying healthy and avoiding all those extra pounds that come along with all those parties and food?
I guess the 60 days of decadence starts from Halloween all the way through the new year.
Thanks for sharing that.
There is a long period of time. And I guess some tips I would suggest would be, one, don't go to a party hungry. Make sure that you eat beforehand, whether you eat a small meal or a salad or some fruit. But don't go
Just take the edge off?
Right, just take the edge off. Say if it's Thanksgiving and it's going to be later in the afternoon, make sure that you eat breakfast. Don't wait till, you know, and say, oh, I won't eat breakfast because I'll eat extra calories. Well, you'll probably eat extra plus some. So to avoid that, then I would make sure that you go ahead and eat. The other thing I would say is that if you're at a buffet table or a line, maybe scan it first to see what's there and maybe make your best choices and say, well, this is something that I wouldn't normally have, so I'm going to spend my calories on this particular food that maybe is only here at a seasonal time.
That's a good idea about scanning it first, because if you don't do that and you start in the beginning and you say, well, I have a little this, a little that, and you end up with this huge plate of food.
You can, right. So another option could be to select a smaller plate if there's two sizes. To select a smaller plate, and then also to at the end maybe wait 10 minutes before going back, to give your time for to get the signal from your stomach to your brain that you are full and that you don't need it. And then the last tip I would give would probably be not to stand right by the buffet line, maybe to stand an arm length away so you're not tempted to hand to mouth and not really paying attention to what you're eating. But if the food's not right there, you're not as tempted to reach for it.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, are there certain foods that we should avoid at all costs?
I would say no, that there's no foods you should avoid. It's a special time of year, so again, I would try to choose foods that you may only have at that particular holiday instead of wasting calories on things that you might normally choose throughout your week that might be part of your regular meals.
Well, I'm a snacker. I love salty stuff and then the sweet stuff, and I go back and forth. I need salt, then I need sweet. So when I go somewhere and there's just all these snacks, and it's so easy, and you think, well, it's not that heavy, you know, it's a little Chex Mix or whatever. So are there any tips to help you deal with that, or is it mostly you need to eat before you go to that party?
I would try to eat before you go to the party. Maybe again, you know, pick up some of the things that you want to try to sample. Maybe it's a Chex Mix that you don't normally make, so you want to try it. But then maybe take some mints with you and pop some mints in your mouth afterwards, so you're not tempted to keep snacking on those things where those calories can add up very quickly.
Well, great information, great information. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our time is too short. I know we have a lot more to cover, but I know that this information is going to help me during the holidays. So
well, thank you.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.